Good afternoon, dear students. Today we are going to study with the production of an organic acid, that is citric acid. Okay. So citric acid production by microorganisms. Now there are a variety of microorganisms which have the ability to convert carbohydrates into organic acids. Okay, there are so many organisms which can convert carbohydrates into organic acid. Say for example, Clostridium species produces acetic acid, butyric acid. Lactobacilli species produces lactic acid. There are so many fungi which can produce citric acid, fumaric acid, itaconic acid, kojic acid, gibberellic acid, gluconic acid. Okay, so there are n number of microorganisms including bacteria, fungi, which can you can say produce various organic acids. So today in this presentation we are going to study the production of citric acid. Okay, all of you must have heard this word citric acid. It's a natural constituent present in many fruits, especially citrus fruits. Okay, those fruits which belong to citrus family like lemon, okay, you can say oranges, lemons, okay. So even in pineapple it is present. So before the development of fermentation technology, citric acid was extracted from citrus fruits, citrus juicy fruits like lemon, okay, and later it was also extracted from pineapple waste. Now but today we know the microbial fermentation process where microorganisms are used to manufacture to produce citric acid on a large scale. So actually, citric acid is a metabolic product of fungi like Aspergillus, Penicillium, and Mucor and other bacteria also. So this property of microorganism can be used to produce citric acid on a large scale. Okay, so we are going to study microbial production of citric acid. Now citric acid can be produced by various fermentation processes like surface culture technique. Okay, submerged culture technique using fungi Aspergillus niger, submerged culture technique using yeast or bacteria. Okay, so citric acid can be produced both by surface culture production as well as by submerged culture production. Okay, today we are going to study production of citric acid using a fungi by surface culture method. Right, so in this method, in case of surface culture process or surface culture fermentation method, the culture is inoculated, the microorganism is inoculated across the surface of the production medium. Okay, that means microorganisms are present only on the surface of the production medium. The culture remains only on the surface throughout the fermentation because it's a stationary fermentation. The various parameters of fermentation, okay, production of citric acid we will be discussing, right? So we are studying production of citric acid by using fungi, that is Aspergillus niger, and by surface culture production. Because this is a surface culture production process, microorganism remains only on the surface and it's a stationary fermentation. Okay, so let us discuss one by one various parameters. Number one, the microorganisms involved. It's very important to select a suitable fungal strain for producing citric acid. You get many types of fungi produce citric acid like Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus clavatus, Penicillium luteum, Mucor, etc. But all of them have the ability to produce citric acid. But Aspergillus niger is used. Why? Because it's a high yielding strain and easy to cultivate. It possesses stable, uniform biochemical characteristics and it produces a very small amount of oxalic acid along with citric acid. This is again important. Many microbes produce citric acid and oxalic acid. Okay. Here, but Aspergillus niger also produces oxalic acid, but in a very small concentration. So it is desirable to use Aspergillus niger. Right. So we are going to use Aspergillus niger. Now, how to prepare the inoculum? Generally, shallow pans made up of steel are utilized in citric acid production. Because the pans are shallow, the depth of the medium is very less. That means volume is very less. The surface area exposed is more. Okay, so because it's a surface culture production and microorganism is going to remain only on the surface, microorganism is going to use only the medium on the surface, we use shallow pans which are not deep. Okay, so shallow pans made up of steel are used in citric acid production. Spores of Aspergillus niger required to inoculate are produced by growing the fungus from stock culture on a solid sporulation medium at 25 degrees Celsius for 4 to 14 days. Okay, so the spores of Aspergillus niger, how they are grown? They are produced by growing the fungus. So you collect the fungus from stock culture, inoculate on a solid sporulation medium and incubate at 25 degrees Celsius for 4 to 14 days. The spores are then added to the production medium. Then you add the spores to the production medium and such that they are floating on the surface. Okay, so it's a liquid medium and the spores are allowed to float on the surface because it's a surface culture production. The fungus then grows on the surface of the liquid. The spores germinate and they grow on the surface. If you are carrying out, if you are using a submerged fermentation, the mycelial mat, pellets, you use mycelial pellets as well as spores. For surface culture production, we generally want spores. So we inoculate the fungus across the surface, allow it to grow, and the fungus grows. The spores germinate and grow on the surface of the liquid media. The next criteria to be taken care of is the carbon source. According to various laboratory studies, sucrose is found to be the best source of carbon among various organic substances. Okay, so what is the best source of carbon for producing citric acid by Aspergillus niger? Sucrose. So sucrose is the best source of organic substance, and it was also reported by studies that sucrose concentration should not exceed 15% in the medium. Okay, because if excess amount of sugar is present, it cannot be converted into citric acid. So the concentration of sucrose in the medium should be below 15% or towards 15%, not more than 15%, because excess sugar is not fermented. Then glucose and fructose were also experimentally tried to be used as carbon source, but it was found by laboratory studies that if glucose or fructose is used as a carbon source, the yield of citric acid is very low. So sucrose is the best preferred sugar carbohydrate. Instead of sucrose, if you want a cheaper source of carbohydrate, if you want a cheap, readily available source of carbohydrate, then beet molasses can be used. It's cheaper, readily available also. So beet molasses can be used as a carbon source in production of citric acid by fungi on a commercial basis. It is cheaper, readily available, but it requires pre-treatment because it contains certain metallic impurities. Okay, the pre-treatment of beet molasses is required to remove excessive trace metals. Pre-treatment of beet molasses is required to remove the excessive trace metal present in the beet molasses. Okay, this can be done by adding certain chemicals like ferrocyanide or ferricyanide. So ferrocyanide or ferricyanide is added to the production medium before sterilization. Okay, then the metals of beet molasses form a complex with these chemicals and they get precipitated and they can be removed. Okay, alternatively, you can remove the metals present in beet molasses by passing it through cation exchange resin. You can remove it by passing through cation exchange resin. Then coming to the inorganic source. See, the carbohydrate that you add to the medium supplies carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But the organism requires certain inorganic salts also. The elements like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium are also needed in the medium apart from carbon source, right? So carbohydrate is going to give carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, but other elements are also required like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium is required. So they are added in the form of ammonium nitrate or potassium dihydrogen phosphate or potassium monohydrogen phosphate and magnesium sulfate, okay, into the medium. So you add them. So you add nitrogen source, carbon source, phosphorus and all into the medium. The fermentation medium having the following composition is supposed to be the most favorable for citric acid production, and that was experimentally studied by Curie in the year 1917. So what should be the composition? Sucrose in gram per liter. Okay, in gram per liter, sucrose should be 125 to 150 grams per liter. Ammonium nitrate will supply nitrogen added in the concentration of just 2 to 2.5 gram per liter. Okay, 2 to 2.5 gram per liter. Potassium dihydrogen phosphate 0.75 to 1 gram per liter. Magnesium sulfate 0.2 to 0.25 gram per liter. So you can see here the ammonium nitrate or potassium dihydrogen phosphate or magnesium sulfate are added in a very small quantity. Okay, but they are required. These elements are required. And the pH of the medium is adjusted to 3.4 or 3.5 by adding HCl. Okay, so HCl is added to adjust the pH to 3.4 to 3.5. Okay. Now, in brief, you can see the flow chart here. Okay, so what are the raw materials? What are the carbon source? We require sugar or molasses. That means sucrose or molasses. In addition to that, inorganic salts like source of nitrogen, ammonium nitrate, source of phosphorus, potassium dihydrogen phosphate, magnesium sulfate, all these salts are added into a tank where it is mixed. You can see a mixture. So sugar or molasses and nitrogen phosphorus salt are added into a tank where they are mixed. While mixing, the pH can be adjusted by adding the acid. So below it we have written water plus acid. So whatever amount of water is required, that is added, and whatever amount of acid is required to maintain the pH is added. Okay, so all this is mixed. All the nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon and all sources are mixed. pH is adjusted by using acid, and then it is passed into the sterilization tank. Okay, so citric acid fermentation. So before sterilization, you have mixed everything. Then it is subjected to sterilization, and then it is taken in a fermentation vessel. Okay, so you have written here. So you have a large fermentation vessel actually, but most of the time, if you are using submerged culture production, you have a large tank. But if you are using surface culture production, then shallow pan methods is used. So there is a rack containing many number of shallow pans. Okay, so into the shallow pan, then you add the sterilized medium. The shallow pan containing the sterilized medium is inoculated with Aspergillus niger. The mold, the fungus, Aspergillus niger, spores are inoculated into the fermentation vessel. Like it may be shallow pans, right? Then once you have added the inoculated with the mold, the fermentation proceeds. Okay, allow the fermentation to take place. Allow the spores to germinate, and the spores convert the raw material, that is carbohydrate present in the medium, into citric acid. But along with citric acid, a small amount of oxalic acid is also produced. So the fermented broth is filtered to remove the fungal biomass, that is mycelia and all. Okay, they are removed, and what we get is the filtrate. The filtrate contains citric acid. Then the filtrate is given, actually it is first given calcium hydroxide treatment and then acidic treatment. So okay, so it is boiled with calcium, you can say lime. It is boiled with lime. We have written the temperature 90 degree pH 7 and all. Okay, so it's boiled with lime. Precipitation takes place. Okay, calcium citrate is formed. Then it is filtrated. Filtration is done. Again the unwanted filtrate is removed, and it is precipitated as calcium citrate. It gets precipitated out as calcium citrate. Small amount of oxalic acid is produced, that is removed. Right. Now the calcium citrate that is formed is treated with sulfuric acid, again subjected to filtration, and then it is concentrated in vacuum. Then you get purified citric acid crystals, right? And calcium is removed as calcium sulfate. So this is the flow sheet for production of citric acid, right? Now, so the next parameter. So what is the first parameter that we studied? The microorganism. Okay. The second parameter, the carbon source. The third parameter, the inorganic salts. Then pH. pH of the medium should be adjusted to 3.4 to 3.5 by using HCl. Low pH is reported to be most favorable. Why should we use such a low pH 3.4 to 3.5? Because it is very favorable. Why it's favorable? Because it minimizes the chances of contamination by other bacteria. Okay, so the first important thing is low pH minimizes the chances of contamination by contaminating bacteria. Then it favors the formation of more citric acid and suppresses the production of oxalic acid. Okay, it favors production of citric acid, suppresses the formation of oxalic acid. So we require low pH, and easy to sterilize the medium. When the pH is low, it is easy to sterilize the medium. So sterilization of the medium is very effective. Right. So we have a low pH requirement of low pH. Then comes the temperature. The exact requirement of temperature depends upon the type of fungi we are using and fermentation conditions. Okay. However, a temperature of 26 to 28 degrees Celsius is considered to be satisfactory. So temperature depends upon type of fungi or what microbe you are using, but a temperature of 26 to 28 degrees Celsius is satisfactory for growing the fungi. Then the most important parameter is the ratio of surface area to volume. The rate of bioconversion of sugar into citric acid, or the rate at which citric acid is produced by the microorganism, depends upon the ratio of surface area to volume of the medium. What is the ratio surface area to volume of the medium? Okay. If the surface area exposed is more, volume is less, then high yield of citric acid is obtained. If the ratio is low, low yield is obtained. If the ratio is low, you'll get a high yield of citric acid. But if the surface area exposed is less, volume of the medium is more, then production will be hampered. So there will be higher yield of citric acid if the ratio is lower. In case of shallow pan method, which is used in surface culture production, the ratio of surface area to volume of the medium is lower, due to which large surface area of mycelial mat is exposed to shallow layer of the medium. Okay. So surface to volume ratio is very important. It should be very low. If the surface to volume ratio is very low, large amount of citric acid is produced. In case of shallow pan method, the exposed area is very more. The exposed area is large. Okay, large surface area is exposed as compared to the shallow layer of the medium. So citric acid production is larger. More. So under these conditions, more and more sugar is converted into citric acid by the microbes, and that's why we prefer this process. Okay. Now aeration. The process being aerobic, it's necessary that there should be a continuous supply of air. Okay, air is required because process is aerobic. Organisms are present only on the surface, hence it's necessary to supply air to the surface of the seeded medium. We don't go on rigorously agitating it, okay, because organisms are present only on the surface. They grow only on the surface. So air is to be supplied only on the surface of the seeded medium, and studies have shown that the rate of aeration is very critical. If the rate of aeration is very high or low, optimum yield of if the rate of aeration is very high or low than the optimum, then citric acid yield is decreased. Therefore, it's essential. So, experimentally, it's essential to determine the rate of air supply for a particular batch. So, you determine what should be the air supply so that we get the yield is higher, so that we get a good yield. Okay, so aeration is very important. But in surface culture production, air is supplied only across the surface. Right. What is the time required? When we are using shallow pan method, the time required for complete fermentation is around 7 to 10 days. What is the yield? With surface culture method, 60 to 80 grams of citric acid is produced, obtained from 100 gram of incorporated sugar. So the yield is very high as far as shallow pan method or surface culture production is method. The time required is 7 to 10 days. The yield is very high, that is 60 to 80 grams of citric acid is obtained from 100 gram of incorporated sugar. Okay, how to recover? Now, the citric acid is present in the fermented broth. So, the recovery of citric acid is an important step as far as citric acid production is concerned. So, the crude fermented liquor, okay, all the fermented liquor present in the shallow pans is collected, or that means whether the crude fermented liquor is obtained by submerged culture production or surface culture method, it is collected and it is first subjected to filtration. Okay, so the fermented liquor is filtered. Why it is filtered? To remove mycelia or other cells and other suspended impurities. So whole fermented liquor is filtered to remove the mycelia and other impurities and cells. Okay, so the mycelium is separated from the fermented broth. Right, intracellular citric acid may be present in the mycelium, so we press the mycelia. So the mycelium are pressed, and the fermented liquor is taken out from the mycelium also. Right, so any intracellular citric acid present in the mycelium is obtained by pressing the mycelium. Now you have the mother liquor or filtered broth. Okay, it is given calcium hydroxide treatment. So first of all, the mother liquor or the filtered broth is heated to 80 to 90 degrees Celsius by adding small amount of hydrated lime. Okay, so what do we add? Hydrated lime. We add calcium hydroxide in water, heat it to 80 to 90 degrees Celsius so that precipitation of oxalic acid takes place. Right? So, the oxalic acid present in the medium, first you filter the broth, separate the mycelium, press the mycelium to remove citric acid that may be present intracellularly. Then the filtered broth or mother liquor is boiled or heated at 80 to 90 degrees Celsius by adding hydrated lime so that oxalic acid is precipitated out. And citric acid is precipitated as calcium citrate. Okay. Then it is then filtered, washed, and then it is treated with equal volume of sulfuric acid. Okay, the precipitated calcium citrate is filtered, washed with several times with water. Okay, so it is filtered, washed several times with water, and then it is transferred into a container which we call as acidulator. Okay, it is transferred into a container which we call as acidulator. And in the acidulator, equal volume of sulfuric acid is added. Okay. When you add equal volume of sulfuric acid, citric acid is liberated. That means citric acid is separated out and the calcium is removed as calcium sulfate. The calcium present along with citric acid as calcium citrate. Actually, we get calcium citrate. So, it is given acid treatment. So, that calcium is removed as calcium sulfate and it is formed as precipitate and citric acid is produced. Okay. So, the acid treatment releases citric acid from calcium citrate and calcium sulfate is formed. Now, the precipitate is separated by filtration, calcium sulfate is separated. Now, what you get in the liquid, the liquor contains citric acid. So, impure solution of citric acid is obtained. It is then decolorized by using charcoal. Okay. So, the impure citric acid obtained is decolorized by giving charcoal treatment, or it is treated with activated carbon to remove the color impurities. Okay, then it is passed through ion exchange resins to remove the metallic impurities, right? So, we use activated carbon or charcoal to remove the color. So, it's decolorized, okay, it is demineralized. It may be passed through ion exchange resins to remove the metallic impurities, okay. Then it is concentrated in vacuum. So, finally, pure citric acid crystals are produced by evaporation. Okay, so citric acid monohydrate crystals are obtained by evaporation and concentration. So, we get crystals. The crystals can also be recovered alternatively by counter current extraction method. Okay, so in counter current extraction method, we use 100 parts of tri-N-butyl phosphate and 5 to 30 parts of N-butyl acetate for citric acid extraction. Okay, so if you are using the method which we describe here, it's good. But if you can also use counter current extraction method. In counter current extraction method, 100 part of tri-N-butyl phosphate and 5 to 30 parts of N-butyl acetate are mixed. The citric acid is extracted in organic phase using lime water. The calcium citrate obtained is again treated with H2SO4 and in acidulator, and then you remove calcium as calcium sulfate. The liquor which contains citric acid is decolorized by charcoal treatment, passed through ion exchange resins to remove metallic impurities. Liquor is concentrated in vacuum and you get crystals of citric acid monohydrate. So this is a small flow chart of citric acid recovery. Okay, so you have a culture medium containing carbohydrate, phosphorus, magnesium and all, then inoculate with Aspergillus niger. Its fermentation is carried out. Okay, then fermented broth. What do? You filter the fermented broth, remove the mycelia and then add lime, hydrated lime. Okay, so when you add hydrated lime, oxalic acid and heat it to 90 degrees, oxalic acid is removed and what you get is calcium citrate. The calcium citrate the filtrate is passed into an acidulator. You add equal volume of sulfuric acid. Then you get calcium sulfate where calcium is removed and citric acid. Filter it. The filtrate, that is the mother liquor, now contains citric acid, but it is in impure form. So what you get? the citric acid crystals are obtained by, you can say, countercurrent method or by the treatment like decolorization followed by evaporation and concentration, and then you get the crystals. So what you get? Crystalline sodium salt. So a crystalline salt of citric acid. Now this is the flow sheet in detail. Okay. So you can see storage medium, media preparation, mix it with media and all. And this is the diagram where we are showing shallow pans. Okay, these are the shallow pans, surface culture production. If you are using a submerged culture production, you require a tank like this. Okay, so surface culture fermentation. You can see here shallow pans being shown here. Okay. So into the shallow pans we add the medium, inoculate with the microorganism, and air is allowed to circulate only on the surface. Okay. Then once the fermentation is over, the mycelium is separated by filtration. So we separate the mycelia by filtration, and precipitation of oxalic acid is done by adding lime. So oxalic acid is separated and calcium citrate is precipitated. Then it is mixed in an acidulator. You can see an acidulator here where we have added sulfuric acid. Okay, sulfuric acid is added to the acidulator. Then calcium, you can say sulfate is precipitated out, and the liquor that is obtained contains, you can say a little bit impure citric acid. So it's decolorized. You can see here decolorizing by adding charcoal or activated carbon. Then it is passed through cation exchange resins or ion exchange resin, rather cation and ion. Okay, to remove the metallic impurities, again decolorization, and then you pass it into a container which is where it is concentrated, it is treated, vaporized, water is vaporized, and you get crystals of citric acid. So screening, size of crystals can also be screened out, so oversize, undersize and all, and then it is vaporized. Okay, drying, and what you crystallization, mother liquor is crystallized, vaporized. There are two different methods. Mother liquor obtained is crystallized, vaporized, and then you produce the crystals of citric acid. Okay, right. This is how we obtain the crystals. Now the other method is submerged culture process. In case of submerged culture process, again Aspergillus is allowed to grow into the production medium. Okay, growth medium, and the growth is uniformly distributed throughout the liquid production medium. You agitate it and you aerate it, so the whole Aspergillus niger grows throughout the volume of the medium. Okay, fermentation is generally carried out in large fermenter having a capacity of thousands of gallons, and they are provided with mechanical agitators and air sparger. So there's a mixing device, aeration device. 80% of world's supply of citric acid is produced by this process, and cost of production decreases by 25% in this method. So low labor cost but long incubation period, more energy consumption, and sophisticated techniques, right? So the three factors are important as far as submerged culture production is concerned. What are those? The metal used for construction of the fermentation vessel. The metal should be generally made up of glass or iron with steel lining. Okay, so that should be the metal. The mycelium structure and oxygen supply. Oxygen supply is a very critical factor. There should be a continuous supply of oxygen because it is a aerobic process. Now mycelial mats called pellets are used for inoculum. We don't just require spores, we can use mycelia also. So mycelial mats called pellets are required for inoculation for fermentation in this process. Suitable and high yielding strain of Aspergillus niger is selected from stock. The spores are inoculated into the germination medium in a seed fermenter. Nutrient solution containing 15% sugar from molasses is used in the seed fermenter. Organism is aerobic and hence high aeration rate is required. During aeration and agitation, foam is formed. Okay, the foam formation can be controlled by adding antifoam agents like silicon compounds. The pH, temperature and all conditions are maintained as we discussed in surface culture production. And once the fermentation is over, citric acid is recovered from the fermented broth in the similar manner which we discussed earlier. Okay, so this is all about citric acid fermentation by surface culture production, right? In the next part, we will be discussing the application or uses of citric acid, and role of trace metals in citric acid production is very important. That's a very important criteria, role of trace metals and trace elements in citric acid production. That we will discuss in next presentation, as well as applications and uses of citric acid. So that is all for today.